Ray Delgado has a saying, and he says it a lot. I just know. Regional sales manager, 6 years running, and the man trusts his gut the way most people trust gravity. Exhibit A. 3 months ago, Ray interviews 2 candidates for a territory lead. One's got the resume, the other's got a firm handshake and laughs at his joke about spreadsheets. And Ray just knows that's his guy. 8 weeks later, that guy has ghosted 2 client calls and lost the Peterson account. Ray is stunned, genuinely stunned, because the handshake felt so right. Exhibit B. 2 months ago, Ray reroutes marketing budget into the product line he's got a feeling about, overriding the actual sales data sitting right there in the report. His gut, again, just knows. That product line flatlines. The line he ignored? Up 19% without him. Ray blinks at the quarterly numbers like they personally betrayed him. Exhibit C. Last week, a junior rep flags a shady client payment pattern. Ray waves it off. Nah, that guy's solid. I've got a read on him. And worries instead about a totally different account that turns out to be fine. The shady client bounces a payment for 40 grand 2 days later. The account Ray was busy worrying about never had a problem in the first place. 3 calls, 3 misses. And here's the part that should rattle Ray and doesn't. He walks into every single one of those decisions feeling exactly as sure as he's feeling right now, at his desk already planning his next move. That's the thing nobody warns you about with a wrong gut call. It doesn't announce itself. There's no little alarm, no different flavor of feeling. Wrong feels exactly like right up until the invoice bounces. Ray doesn't update. He doesn't even flinch, really. He just files each miss under bad luck or that guy fooled everyone, and moves on to the next decision with the same swagger. Which, if we're honest, most of us do too. And that's the actual mystery worth sitting with, not is Ray an idiot. He's not, he's sharp, he's just human. The mystery is why a brain this good at feeling certain is so bad at knowing when that certainty is earned. That question, why confidence and correctness live in totally different parts of your head, is exactly the one a guy named Daniel Kahneman spent his career answering. And Ray, bless him, is about to get a very unwelcome education. Ray is back, this time on the other side of the table. He's hiring for his team, and candidate number 3 just sat down across from him. For minutes in, Ray has already decided. Firm handshake, good eye contact, laughed at his joke about the broken coffee machine. Hired in his head before the guys even opened his resume. That snap judgment has a name, System 1. It's the part of your brain that works fast, runs on autopilot, and never asks permission. It sizes people up, reads a room, finishes bread, and before you even think about it. System 2 is the other guy, slow, deliberate, does the math, checks the references, actually reads the resume. Problem is, System 2 is lazy. It would rather rubber stamp what System 1 already decided than do the hard work of checking it. So watch what actually happens for the next 26 minutes of this interview. Ray doesn't test his gut call. He goes looking for evidence to back it up. He asks softball questions. Tell me about a time you worked well on a team. Of course the guy has a great answer, everyone does. Ray nods like he's just uncovered proof. Then the candidate gives a genuinely shaky answer about a project that missed deadline after deadline, and Ray just lets it go. Moves on to the next question like it never happened. That's confirmation bias, and it's System 2's dirty secret. It doesn't show up to referee the fight. It shows up as the guy's defense attorney. It builds the case for the verdict System 1 already handed down. Here's my honest take. This is the best idea in the whole book, and it's not even close. The 2-system split is a genuinely useful map of your own head. Once you've heard it, you cannot unsee your own brain doing exactly what Ray just did. But be honest about what it is. A metaphor, not a map of actual brain anatomy. Kahneman himself said so. There's no System 1 lobe and System 2 lobe having a border dispute in your skull. It's a story about 2 styles of thinking, dressed up as characters so we can talk about them. And that's fine. A good metaphor doesn't need to be literally true to be useful. Just don't let anyone tell you neuroscience proved System 2 exists like a kidney. It's a working model and a good one. Ray hires the guy. 3 months later, the deadlines start slipping. The exact pattern from that shaky answer he waved off in minute 19. The book won't fix that for you. Knowing about System 1 doesn't switch it off. Kahneman admits that himself. But it does give you one good habit. When you catch yourself defending a decision instead of testing it, that's your cue to slow down and let System 2 actually do its job. Ray has a stack of 10 resumes on his desk and a job to fill by Friday. The first one he opens is from a guy named Dale, solid, steady, 7 years doing exactly this job at 2 different companies. References that check out, numbers that check out. Ray reads it, nods, and without even meaning to, sets it down as the bar. That's the anchor. Kahneman's got a whole chapter on this. The first number, the first impression, the first resume you see quietly becomes the ruler you measure everything else against, even though it has no business being the ruler. Then candidate number 4 walks in, a guy named Trent. Firm handshake, big smile, and 45 seconds into the interview he's telling Ray about the time he single-handedly saved a doomed product launch by pulling an all-nighter and rewriting the pitch from scratch. Ray is grinning. This guy talks like Ray wishes he talked. Confident, a little cocky, tells a story with a hero in it. And the hero is him. Ray thinks, this is my kind of guy, and that thought is doing more hiring than any resume line ever will. This is representativeness, and it's the best idea in the whole book. We don't judge people by the data, we judge them by how well they match the picture in our head of what a great candidate looks like. Confident, articulate, a good story, check, check, check. Never mind that none of that is actually correlated with doing the job well. Dale, meanwhile, sat in that same chair and talked for 20 minutes about process improvements and quarterly consistency. True story. Boring story. The kind of story your brain deletes on the walk back to your desk. That's availability kicking in right behind representativeness. Trent's all-nighter story is vivid. It's got drama, stakes, a comeback. Dale's steady track record is just numbers on a page, and numbers don't stick in your head the way a story does, even when the numbers are the truer signal. So here's Ray, 3 biases deep before he's even finished his coffee. The first resume anchored his standard. The vivid story hijacked his memory. And the whole package matched his mental prototype of leader. He hires Trent on the spot. Fast forward 2 months. Trent's all-nighter energy turns out to be his only setting, and it's not sustainable. Deadlines slip. Dale, still on the market, gets scooped up by a competitor who apparently reads spreadsheets for fun. And look, I think this is genuinely the strongest chapter in the book because these aren't abstract concepts, they're words you'll actually use. You'll catch yourself mid-decision and think, wait, is this representativeness talking? Or the actual evidence? That's a real upgrade to how you think. My honest gripe, though, Kahneman stacks these biases one on top of another like he's building a tower of gotchas, but he never quite tells you which one's actually steering the car in a given moment. Was it the anchor, the story, or the prototype matching that really got Ray? Probably all 3, tangled together, and the book doesn't give you a clean way to untangle them. It reads less like a single unified theory of the mind and more like a very smart checklist of ways your brain screws you over. Useful, sure, but you're the one who has to figure out which item on the checklist applies to your Tuesday afternoon decision. Here's who this chapter actually helps. Anybody who hires people, funds startups, or picks stocks based on a great pitch. If you'd made Ray run the numbers before he ran the interview, forced himself to rank candidates on the data first, meet them second, Dale gets the job and nobody's covering a missed deadline in month 2. So Ray is still riding high off catching himself almost hire a guy just because the guy reminded him of himself. Feels like progress. Then one Tuesday night he's slouched on the couch, half watching the 11 o'clock news, and progress takes a little vacation. The lead story is a home invasion 2 towns over. Doorbell cam footage, shaky flashlight beams. A terrified homeowner describing every second like it's still happening to her. It's the kind of story built to lodge in your skull and never leave. Ray sits up straight. His smirk is gone. His brain isn't doing math right now, it's doing movie trailer. He's replaying that shaky footage like it happened in his own hallway. This is what Kahneman calls the availability heuristic. We don't judge risk by counting how often something actually happens. We judge it by how easily an example comes to mind. And nothing comes to mind easier than a vivid story you just watched with your own eyes. By midnight, Ray is 12 tabs deep comparing home security systems, reading reviews like they're scripture, picturing the shadowy figure at his own door instead of a stranger's. By Thursday, he's signed a contract and handed over $2,000 for sensors, cameras, a monitored panel, the works. Not because he ran the numbers, because he couldn't stop seeing that flashlight beam. Now here's the punchline the book would absolutely love. Sitting on his kitchen counter that whole week is his smoke detector. Battery dead. He pulled it down after it chirped at 3 a.m. and just never put a new battery in. House fires kill vastly more people every year than home invasions do. It isn't close. But a dead smoke detector doesn't come with a shaky flashlight beam and a terrified voiceover. So it just sits there. Boring. Invisible. Unfixed. Kahneman has a name for this too: probability neglect. When an outcome is emotionally loaded, we stop weighing how likely it is at all. We go straight from "this could happen" to acting like it will, while the actual boring math why risk gets zero airtime in our head. And I'll give the book real credit here. This is the chapter that finally clicked something for me too. It's not that Ray is dumb, or even that he's scared for no reason. It's that his brain is running a search for, how easily can I picture this? And calling that answer probability. That explanation is genuinely airtight. But here's where I start getting annoyed with this book. It's brilliant at telling you why your brain does this. It is much quieter on what you're supposed to actually do the next time a scary headline hijacks your wallet. Naming the bias isn't the same as neutralizing it. Proof of that. Ray finishes the book's chapter on this exact bias, closes the laptop, and still doesn't replace the smoke detector battery. Knowing the name of the trap did not spring him from it, because System 1 doesn't read footnotes. So the smoke detector's still ringing in his ears when Ray does the thing every investor does at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. He opens the stock app for no reason. His portfolio's down 3%. 3%. And his stomach drops like he just got fired. Here's the thing Kahneman and his partner Amos Tversky actually proved, in lab after lab. Losing $100 hurts about twice as much as gaining $100 feels good. Not a little more. Roughly double. They called it loss aversion, and it's not a personality flaw, it's just how the software runs. So watch what Ray does next, because it's textbook. He's got two stocks. One's up 8%. Small win, feels nice, and he sells it immediately to lock that gain in before it can disappear. The other stock is down 20%. Same guy, same portfolio, same night, and he doesn't touch it. He just closes the tab and tells himself, it'll come back. That's called the disposition effect, and it's backwards from good advice. You should sell losers and let winners ride. That's just tax-smart, math-smart investing. Ray does the exact opposite, because selling the loser means admitting the loss is real, and his brain would rather hold a sinking stock forever than feel that one bad moment of certainty. This is prospect theory in one move. It's not that Ray is bad at math. He's reacting to a reference point, that little number in his head that says, this is what I paid. And every dollar below it feels like an open wound, while every dollar above it barely registers. And I'll say this straight, of everything in this book, loss aversion is the part that's actually nailed down. It's been replicated across markets, across cultures, even across pigeons and monkeys trading tokens for food. This isn't a cute anecdote. This is one of the most reproducible findings in behavioral science. But here's where it gets personal for Ray. Weekend after the stock thing, he's at the electronics store buying a blender. Cashier asks if he wants the extended warranty. $40. He says yes before she even finishes the sentence. Nobody frames it as pay $40 for a tiny reduction in an already tiny risk. They frame it as protect yourself in case it breaks. Same statistics, completely different feeling. And that's the framing effect, the third leg of this whole idea. How a choice is worded changes the choice, even when the actual numbers never move. And here's the depressing part the book kind of glosses over. Ray knows this stuff now. We literally covered System 1 and System 2 2 chapters ago. He still bought the warranty. Knowing about the bias did basically nothing. Kahneman admits this himself in the book, almost apologetically. He says he's studied this his whole career and he still falls for it. That's not a small caveat. That's the whole book quietly telling you the awareness doesn't come with an off switch. So here's my honest verdict on this one. Rigorously true, genuinely useful for understanding why you behave the way you do, and almost useless as a self-help tool because be aware of your bias turns out to be some of the weakest advice ever printed. If you want it to actually change your behavior, you need rules, not reminders, automatic sell orders, automatic no's at the checkout counter, systems that don't ask your feelings for permission. Ray still owns that losing stock, by the way. It's down 26% now. But hey, at least the blender's under warranty. Ray's office ran a Monday ritual. The sales huddle, where numbers got read out like a report card. This week, a rep named Dana had bounced back hard after the worst quarter of her career. And their manager stood up like he'd personally pulled her out of a burning building. That's what happens when you sit someone down and get real with them, the manager said, tapping his chest. Ray almost clapped along, until a stubborn little itch in the back of his head asked, real with them or just time passing? Here's the part almost nobody's brain is built to notice. Bad quarters and great quarters are usually followed by something closer to average, no coaching required. It's called regression to the mean, and Kahneman uses it to explain a famous flight instructor puzzle. Pilots praised for a smooth landing flew worse next time. Pilots yelled at for a rough one flew better, and everyone credited the yelling. Nobody was rewarding luck or punishing bad luck. Extreme results just tend to drift back toward normal on their own, and if you happen to be standing there yelling when it happens, you'll swear it was you. Ray thought about Dana's spreadsheet. One brutal month sandwiched between two decent ones, and realized his manager wasn't a genius coach. He was a guy standing in front of a bell curve, taking a bow. What really annoyed Ray was what got ignored in the same meeting. The boring performance checklist HR had built 2 years back. Hard numbers, consistent categories, no vibes involved, sitting untouched in a shared drive nobody opened. Kahneman's research is blunt about this. Simple scoring formulas, a handful of factors, added up, no gut feel allowed, consistently beat expert judgment at predicting things like job performance, parole risk, even medical outcomes. Not slightly beat, consistently beat. And this is where I have to hand it to him, this isn't a soft, feel-good idea. It's one of the most uncomfortable findings in the whole book because it says your confident hiring instinct, the one that felt so sure about Ray back in chapter 1, is worse than a spreadsheet. So Ray did the office hero thing. He pulled up the checklist scores, cross-referenced them against actual quarterly performance, and brought his manager a genuinely tidy little chart proving the boring form predicted results better than the interview gut checks ever had. His manager glanced at it for 4 seconds. Numbers don't know people, he said, and went back to his coffee. Ray stood there holding the one thing that was actually right, watching it lose to a guy who trusted his gut about Dana 5 minutes earlier. This is what researchers call algorithm aversion. People will use a worse method just because it feels more human, and no amount of accurate charts fixes that feeling. Kahneman names this resistance clearly. What he doesn't do is tell you what to say to the guy holding the coffee cup. That's my honest complaint with this book. It's devastatingly right that formulas beat intuition, the evidence is airtight, but it goes almost silent on how you actually get a real manager in a real office with a real ego to hand over the decision to a spreadsheet. It's one thing to prove a checklist works in a psych lab. It's another to walk it past a manager's pride, a company's habits, and everyone's love of a good story about tough coaching. The book nails the diagnosis and basically shrugs at the prescription. So Ray filed the checklist back in the drive, watched Dana get praised again next quarter for staying coached up, and quietly started keeping his own private scorecard. Not because the office would ever use it, but because now he couldn't unsee what it proved. So here's where Ray lands, months after the slump that wasn't a slump. He's in a meeting, somebody pitches an idea, and Ray feels the old familiar jolt. The instant yes, obviously, do that, and for the first time he catches it happening. Not stops it, just notices it like catching your own reflection in a window you didn't expect. That's it. That's the whole trick this book actually hands you. Not silencing system 1 because you can't, it's faster than you'll ever be. Just building a half-second gap between the gut call and the mouth opening. Kahneman never promises you'll win that race. He just tells you it's a race worth knowing you're running. Now watch him somewhere else. His apartment, staring at listings for a bigger place across town. Absolutely convinced his whole life will change if he gets the extra bedroom. He's not sleeping right, he's checking his phone at 1 a.m. He's already decorating a room he doesn't own. This is the focusing illusion, and it's a sneaky one. Nothing in life is as important as it feels while you're thinking about it. Kahneman's line, not mine, but it's dead accurate. Ray isn't wrong that the apartment would be nice. He's wrong that it's the hinge his whole future swings on. So he does the thing, pauses, and asks a dumb little question that turns out not to be dumb at all. What will future Ray actually remember about this a year from now? Not what does present Ray feel right now, lying awake at 1 a.m. Those are two very different witnesses, and only one of them is being honest. That question comes straight from one of the strangest ideas in the whole book. You're not one self, you're two. There's the experiencing self, who lives every single minute and feels it in real time. And there's the remembering self who writes the highlight reel later and, weirdly, is the one who actually makes your decisions. Kahneman's proof of this is almost cruel. People will choose more total pain if the ending is slightly better, because the remembering self only grades you on the peak and the finish, not the runtime. Ray tests it without meaning to, at a work trip dinner that's dragging on forever, and he stays an extra hour just so the night ends well. And he's right to stay, actually, not because the extra hour felt good in the moment, it felt long and a little boring. He stays because he already knows how memory works now. It doesn't average, it snapshots. That's the book teaching him something true about himself, and I'll give it full credit for that one. Okay, here's my verdict, and I've been building to it for 6 chapters. Thinking Fast and Slow is one of the best diagnostic manuals ever written about the human mind. It will show you exactly where the wiring glitches with more precision and evidence than almost anything else on a shelf. Asterisk on that word evidence. Though, some of it didn't survive. The priming studies read words about old age, walk slower, ego depletion, willpower as a fuel tank that runs dry. A lot of it failed to replicate. And to his credit, Kahneman said so himself. He called the evidence in his own priming chapter a train wreck. The spine of the book holds 2 systems, loss aversion, regression to the mean. But it oversold parts of its own science, and you deserve to know which parts. But as an instruction manual, it's weak, and I think Kahneman himself half admits it. He tells you System 1 doesn't get quiet just because you've met it. Awareness buys you that half-second gap Ray found, it doesn't buy you a cure. If you came here for 5 easy life hacks, this book will frustrate you. So who actually walks away better for reading it? Skeptics, people who already distrust their own certainty and want the receipts. Planners, forecasters, anyone who has to put a number on a future they can't see. Policy people, doctors, judges, anyone whose gut call affects somebody else's life. For those readers, this book is close to essential. If you just wanted a quick fix for your own bad decisions, you're going to close this book more humbled than upgraded. And honestly, that's not nothing, but it's not what the cover promised either. Ray never becomes some flawless decision machine. That was never on the table. He's still the guy who trusts his gut a little too much. He's just the guy now who, once in a while, catches himself trusting it and asks the gut one honest question before he follows it out the door.